Hi, this is Scott. Welcome back to another Hollinger Team video blog for the third quarter of 2020. The report on waterfront properties as well as the market overall. A huge shift, and I talked about it in the second quarter, saying that the numbers that were starting already to stack up were going to show a big change in the market coming into the third quarter. And it was big. It was, for those that have talked with me or probably talked with anybody else in the marketplace, it's been a pretty brisk market and what I would call a shift from very few buyers in what we had in the recession to very few properties for sale now. It is scarce. There are a lot of people that are looking to buy, and there's not much to choose from. Anyhow, let's talk about the overall activity in both Lake and Flathead County combined for residential and then for land sales. Right now, there are 577 homes for sale in the two counties. So far this year, there's been 2,353 sold, which compares with 1,847 last year, so a 30% increase there in the number of transactions, and there are 785 pending. So 577 currently for sale, 785 pending. So it's well under a 1 year supply of homes for sale. On the land side, there's 832 active listings, 973 have sold. That compares with last year's 647. Again, a 30% increase in the number of sales so far this year compared to last year. And there are 312 pending. So a huge number there also. More interesting numbers to come as we now talk about the lakes. On Flathead Lake, we have had just a unbelievable number of sales and activity going on. I think we started out, if my memory is correct, at the second quarter report, I think we had about 69 homes for sale on the lake. So right now there are 28 homes for sale on Flathead Lake. So far this year, 78 have sold, and that compares with 40 from the year before, so almost double the number of homes. And on top of that, there are 38 pending sales. So again, 28 active, 38 pending, and 28 sold so far. So right now we're going to hit probably, I don't know, well, certainly double the previous year's sale of home on Flathead Lake. On the vacant land side, that's been busy too. There's 21 active listings on Flathead Lake. 14 have sold so far this year. 11 the year before, so not quite a 30% increase, but we'll say 20, maybe 25%, something like that. And there's 18 pending sales. So yeah, there's as many pending sales third quarter as had sold year to date in the last three quarters. So that'll be that number will really jump quite a bit. Flathead Lake Condominiums, really interesting shift there. I think we plugged along steady for quite a few years with 35 to 40 active listings and condominiums on the lake. We are down to 5 condominiums for sale on Flathead Lake. 53 have closed so far this year. 27 the year before, double there, and 22 are pending. So almost as many pending as the 3 months of, the 3 quarters of the year before. So just huge numbers. It's reminiscent of before the recession, but I don't remember us getting down to this few properties actually for sale. Now on to Echo and Blaine Lakes. Echo and Lake Blaine have seen kind of what I predict we're going to start seeing. And I'll start out with the land, number one on Echo and Lake Blaine. there are no vacant properties for sale on either of those lakes. This year, there's been one sale, and that was the property. So when there's one for sale, then it's gone, and there's nothing else. That compares with two sales last year, and which probably also because there wasn't a lot of vacant land for sale. And then there's there's no pending sales either. So just one property sold, end of story for vacant land on Echo and Blaine. On the home side, there are 4 active sales. So far this year, there's been 4 sales on those lakes, and that compares with 8 the year before. So a lot of properties sold in last year, not a lot remained for sale. And as we see from the 4 active and the 4 closed, there's 8 there. There is 2 pending sales also. So we had two more come on the market, and out of that total, we don't have a huge number of sales, but you can't when you don't have very much for sale on either of those lakes. Now to Swan Lake. Swan Lake is a lot like Echo and Blaine. Right now, there are no homes for sale on Swan Lake. 5 have sold this year, 6 sold last year, and there's 3 pending. So we'll end up probably a little bit ahead of last year's sales, but again, very little for sale, so not much sales activity. But that does not mean there are a lack of buyers. On the land side, this is really a big number. There's 1 vacant lot for sale. 8 properties have sold this year, compared with 1 the year before. So huge swing to vacant land, probably because no homes for sale. So going to Plan B, and that's buying vacant land and building. And 2 pending sales on the vacant land. So way ahead of previous years on vacant land. And I think that's going to translate to the lakes west of Kalispell, which is what we will talk about next. So on the lakes west of Kalispell, we include Foy's Lake because it does get a fair number of sales. Like sometimes we include Lake of the Woods over by Echo Lake. Just to back up a minute, there was 1 sale on Lake of the Woods in the 3rd quarter, but other than that, there's been nothing for sale, and it came on and sold quite quickly. Anyhow, Ashley, Bitterroot, McGregor, and Foy's Lake, we have 3 of all those lakes. We have 3 active listings for homes. We have 1 on Blaine, 1 on McGregor, and 1 on Foy's Lake. There's 13 sales, 5 on Ashley, 4 on Bitterroot, 2 on McGregor, and 2 on Foy's Lake. That compares with last year of 8 sales total. So 13 this year, 8 last year. 2 on Ashley last year, 3 on Bitterroot, 2 on McGregor, and 1 on Foy's Lake. So kind of a good mix, but basically a 50% increase in the number of transactions so far this year, and 1 pending sale, and that one's on Foy's Lake. Vacant land on those 4 lakes, there are 2 active listings. Out of the 4 lakes, there's only 2 vacant properties for sale. 13 vacant properties have sold so far this year. There's been 3 on Ashley. Bitterroot was wild, 5 on Bitterroot, and McGregor, which is kind of lagged for years and years, had 4, and 1 vacant lot sale on Foy's Lake. That compares with 3 last year. So 13 this year, 3 last year, fourfold increase in sales on land on those 4 lakes. Last year's, the 3 were 1 on Ashley, 1 on Bitterroot, 1 on McGregor, and there's 2 pending sales on top of all that. So just a lot of sales on lakes, and the interesting update, probably not this next coming quarter. I think it's going to be really strong as far as the number of closed because of the pendings that we've talked about here. But then I think in the winter, and it's not because it's winter, it's going to be because there's hardly anything for sale on any of the lakes in the Flathead Valley. Hope this was an informative video. Happy to answer questions or talk about other things that we've seen or things that traits or trends that we see coming. Anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. The outro is a little video that I put together and I've narrated it. Hope you enjoy that. Thanks for viewing in on the Hollinger Team video blog.
Well, the earth provided some bounty to us this year. We've got tomatoes that we grew out in our garden, as well as tomatillos, which I'd never grown before. Look like a tomato, kind of slice open, look like a tomato, but a totally different taste. Probably do it again next year. And you take those and slice them up and put them into one of these little things here for creating an experimental snack that I created using everything, the bagel everything spices, and I sprinkle on that, and that's dried green tomato, and we have dried tomatillo here. So if you guys ever want to experiment, this is kind of a fun thing to do.